Oh, hey, I am live. Cool. So, tonight's main focus is trying to get through a web stream without my sound going down. So we'll see how it goes. I can still see I have sound. Let's see if we have guitar. We do. Is it in tune? Not necessarily. So, apologies for the late start. Not that anyone's here anyway, which is fine. Because I was teaching. I teach on a Monday night, and I had a lesson which went a little over, which is fine. I like to give people the time they deserve so that they can learn guitar properly. Anyway, we've got someone in. Who have we got? Who's there watching? Cool. Craig Scott. Hello, how you doing? How's the sound? Is it okay? You hear my guitar? All good? Sounds good. Cool. Well, tell me when it breaks down. I don't think it will tonight. I'm really hopeful that we're good. So last week, one of my friends, yeah, hope not to. Do you know the solution was that I had to? I think the solution is that I had to like deinstall my drivers. So the driver I'm working off is something completely random. It's not the M audio stuff. It's something like just internal or something, and it seems to work for lessons. So I hope it works for this. But the annoying thing is that I've been doing some recording, which I'll talk about in a minute, and the setup I have with the drivers doesn't work for that. I have to reinstall the M audio drivers to do the Cubase stuff. So over the weekend, I was installing and uninstalling drivers for the most part. Not that it takes very long, but you know, it's annoying. I'm just going to turn this fan down. Oops. There we go. Hopefully. So I'm going to talk about the stuff that I was recording because it's been a lot of fun. I spent quite a few hours this week recording guitar solos, which is great, and a little bit about like how I approached it, I suppose, and how people can think about approaching guitar solos. And I've even got some examples of things you can practice. I don't know if I can share them on the screen. That would be awesome. But if anybody wants them, just drop me a line and I can send you that stuff. It's all PDF'd anyway. And Craig, if you want it, I'll just bring it in tomorrow for you or ping it over to you or whatever. But one of my friends, who is also a subscriber, contacted me last week and said, would you be interested in playing some guitar stuff over my song I'm writing? So I'm like, yeah, cool. Any chance to, blow off some guitar licks? Always fun. It turns out that guy is actually an old friend of mine from when I lived in Santa Cruz. We used to hang out a lot back then. I think we were like 16 or 17. Back in the days when Master of Puppets came out, like Metallica, early days. His name is Mark, and his moniker is actually Ed Gear on YouTube. That's his channel. And he's doing some writing of some stuff, and he sent me a song which is pretty good. And asked me to play over the top of it. And he gave me a little section to work on, and I listened to the song, and I was like, oh my God, there's just too many bits of song here that I can solo over. So I started off with the intro and just basically worked through all these bits. Anywhere where there's not singing, I just started laying down guitar solos. So I've actually done 6. I'm going to do 6. I've done 4 out of 6. And only one of them was what he probably wanted. But the thing is, it's digital, right? So I can send him over the files and he can just use whatever he wants. So that's fine. But the fun thing about doing 6 different solos is that you can basically structure that stuff however you want. You can really sort of plan it through. So that's the first tip that I would say about playing guitar solos is unless you're really awesome at just improvising, try and craft something, structure it out, put together something that you know you think sounds really good, and sort of plan it out. You know, just play over the track. That would be the next tip, really. I have so many of my guitar students that sort of try and write solos in thin air. So they'll sit and go, you know, and yeah, okay, fine, but there's no context to that whatsoever. So if you want to practice soloing, and you know, maybe you're not recording a solo or writing a solo or whatever, that's fine. Just get on YouTube and like find a jam track, you know, in the key of like E minor or A minor or something fairly easy that you can kind of do some stuff in, right? And then you can just jam away on it. Mark's stuff was in predominantly E minor, so that was nice and easy because guitarists love E minor. So I was able to really jam over top of that. But there were some interesting chords in there. There was some suspended nines, which are really cool to play over. You get some sort of arpeggio type stuff that's a little bit more interesting than just dominant seven stuff. You know, it's you can just take that and sort of run with it. But I decided, for the most part, so far, I haven't really outlined any of the individual chords. I've really kind of stuck to just thinking E minor. And there were some specific guitarists that I was thinking about as I was crafting my solos. So tip number one is sort of try and write a solo or craft something out or structure it in some way rather than just laying down nonsense, unless you're really, really good at doing it that way. Secondly, listen to the track that you're playing over, or if you want to practice, use a jam track. There's loads of stuff on YouTube, because that helps, because then you can hear, does it actually sound any good? Is what I'm playing working with the track that I am playing over? And that's a big thing, you know, if it sounds good or not. So part of the main thing that was really shaping my guitar solos over the track was listening to it. Does it sound good? Does it sound good when I'm playing it? When I listen back to it, does it sound good? Is it working? Is it complementing the music that I'm hearing? So what was cool was that when I'm laying down these solos, there's a whole mix of like slow stuff and fast stuff all coming together in each little section, because I didn't want to just like do a whole shredding thing, because it probably wouldn't work. Or if it did work, then you know it would be fine. I would include it. But at the moment, there's nothing particularly shredding. That's not to say I don't play some fast stuff. There's definitely some fast stuff in there. Yeah, I didn't just like start sweep picking arpeggios for the sake of it. At least not yet. I've still got 2 sections to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about the very first solo that I did. And this is out of context. I haven't got the track available right this second to play over. At some point, I will do that. I'll play over the sort of solo, over the track. I mean, I'll do the actual solos over it. Might have to relearn them. But so that is the first bit. I've got some fluff on my finger. So it starts off with. Oops. No. There it is. Okay. So I have to actually remember what I'm doing, right? This one was recorded about 4 days ago. And then goes into. I can't remember, to be honest. I can't remember what this. A whole bunch of stuff basically based around E minor. And each little section I was thinking about, or certain influences of guitar players came into it. And the reason I wanted to play that little section there at the start was because that's kind of like, that's a John Frusciante lick, that kind of thing. And I didn't know it at the time. I played that because it sounded good over what I was hearing. And then the way I developed it, which I've completely forgotten, also sounded pretty good too. But that specific lick, I was thinking about, like, where have I heard that before? I just couldn't think. And then it came to me. It's actually in a song called Venice Queen by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is on the By the Way album. And he does a little lick that's kind of based around that. So I guess I maybe stole it from there. It wasn't consciously stolen from there. But anything that you listen to has an influence. And of course, when I'm listening to guitar players, John Frusciante, Steve Vai, whoever, I'm listening to them fairly intently, listening to what they're playing. So that stuff totally gets into your head when you play stuff. You're always going to kind of sound a little bit like your influences. So the second solo, I can't remember what I played over the first solo. I have to listen back to it, and I can't do that right now. Because it's on a different program that uses different drivers, and it's just going to screw up. But I will get that together. But the second solo, I did a thing where I didn't start on beat one. So the solo starts on a downbeat, boom, there's your solo section. So start playing, and the first sort of influence or I suppose thing that people like to do is just do some kind of wailing bend on beat one so that everyone knows it's time for the solo. I actually don't start playing till beat two, and I did that on purpose. Partly because when I was mucking around, I was doing stuff on beat one, and then I kind of like maybe accidentally played something on beat two and thought that sounds cool. And the part of the reason I did that is because I remember reading an interview with Steve Vai about that kind of stuff, about rhythmic displacement. And one of my favorite guitar solos of all time is Ladies' Night in Buffalo from the David Lee Roth album from 1986, where Steve Vai plays on that. And I remember listening to that guitar solo just being blown away, and I still am blown away. And I've learned it, and it still blows me away. And when I went to go and see him live, Steve Vai pretty much plays everything note for note for the most part when you see him live. A couple of variations and modifications here or there, but it's almost identical to the record, except on Ladies' Night in Buffalo, it builds up. The song builds up to this solo, and it's like, boom, here's the downbeat, here's the solo. And on the record, he does just wail on beat one, and it's really, really cool. When I saw him live, the song's building up to that moment, and it's like, here we go, here we go, here we go, boom, downbeat, nothing. He's just standing there on stage looking cool at the Cow Palace in San Francisco, nothing. And about two beats go by, and then he just rips into it. And I remember just going, damn, that's cool. It was really like, the anticipation of it not happening, and then he just makes it happen. And he later talked about that as a trick that he had learned from Frank Zappa, where if you do something that's a little unpredictable rhythmically, it can sound very, very cool. So I definitely, when I hit that sort of note off the beat, I was like, oh, right, I want to do that. So I then developed that idea of playing on beat two rather than beat one in the second part of the solo. And I really like what came out. And I'm not going to try and play it because I've already forgotten. That was 3 days ago. So yeah, that was the second part. So there's lots of bends and wails, and there's some fast playing, and hopefully, hopefully Mark likes what I put down. Otherwise, I'll kind of like have to play it to you out of context, with no background. Yeah, you're not using any of that on my stuff. You're crap. But I don't think so. I'm actually really pleased with how this stuff is turning out. I think it sounds really good. The third solo I recorded on Saturday, and that was, I like my old school 80s metal. So I was listening to a band called Dokken, Dokken, who I've listened to since I was like 15 or something. And I love those guys, and they're still really cool. Don't listen to any new stuff. Don Dokken, the singer, he, legend, but not so great now. So anyway, George Lynch is the guitar player in Dokken, and he is incredible at that kind of stuff. Just amazing guitar player. And I was listening to a song called Breaking the Chains, which is the first song on the first album that Dokken did. And as I was listening to that solo, I really liked the rhythmical thing he was doing in there. And he does a little thing where he does octaves. So it's kind of like, I can kind of play this one because I can kind of remember it. It wasn't quite as bluesy as that. But then there's some development. Something like that, I can't remember. But then taking that same thing up an octave. So I'm basically playing the same thing in this part of the neck, and so I kind of cop the same lick. And it doesn't sound as this is not the tone that I used on the recording. It's way more dirty. In fact, I'll give you a sample of that. But I always think that the sound card and the compression on YouTube tends to make it sound really bad. But let's give it a go. You know, something like that. It wasn't that, but it's like it's that song by what are they called? Jack Black, Tenacious D. This is not the greatest guitar solo that I put down the other day. It's just a parody. It's that, because I can't remember what I did. No, I can remember, but I can't play it. I'll have to relearn it, and you know, pending Mark actually liking it, because I might send this stuff to him and he goes, no. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, oh hey, we have a visitor. You all good?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
What?
Yeah, we're live.
I'm live.
Yeah.
I'm live.
Yes, you are.
Oh damn! I probably look really stupid right now.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, night.
Night.
Okay. Classic stuff there. That's my daughter, Heidi. She's 10, and probably wants to be a YouTuber like her dad. Oh wait, no, like Mr. Beast or someone. Yeah, I haven't quite got to that stage where I have big piles of money behind me to give away. So yeah, if you can play this lick, last person to play this lick, or first person to play this lick, gets the big pile of 10 grand behind me. That'd be fun. I heard he spends like 4 million quid, or dollars rather, to make his videos, per video, which is like insane. 4 million to actually produce the video. It's like, at what point are you sort of like just you know, a movie production studio? I guess he is, isn't he? So the fourth solo that I did was kind of, I ended up here after the third solo, so I kind of kept it going. I was like in this area. And it's all basically pentatonic, and the cool thing about each section of solo that I did is that it's in a different part of the yeah, Craig, cool, sick kid, nasty. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. But the cool part of the solos that I've been doing is that I've kind of sectioned them off into different bits of pieces. So cheers for tuning in, dude. I appreciate it. I've been doing different sections of stuff, you know, so it's kind of like part of the solo is down here, and then it moves up to this section up here, and then I've got one that goes from there to there, and then I've got the one that goes up here. So the next sort of thing that I'm thinking about is probably doing some kind of a tapping thing, a little contrived to sort of say that at this point, but it's a rock track, so you know, you can't go wrong with two-handed tapping. I haven't put real sweeping stuff in there yet, so we'll see how that goes. But I might do some sweeping in there as well. So it looks like I've successfully managed to get through a live stream for about 25 minutes or so without my sound going down, which is a first. And that was kind of the point of this to a certain extent. I'm going to develop more on this concept that, or the idea that I'm doing with Mark, working on these solos for him. I really like them. I'm really proud of the solos that I've put on the record, the record, man. I don't know what Mark plans to do with it. It's up to him. I'm just really sort of honored that he even asked me to play on it, to be honest. So it's great. So I really wanted to do a good job. And as I say, I've got a couple more solos to lay down. He can then take all that information and guitar soloing and basically use the bits he wants to use, which is cool with me. You know, it's just been a lot of fun playing over that stuff. So great. I'm glad. I'm going to go and check this out, and I'm glad that my sound has basically stayed up, which is good. So yeah, I'm gonna as I say, in the next week I'll probably I should have it all finished. Might even learn what I played and then play it back, and that would be really good. And I can break down some of the bits, you know, assuming that Mark likes it and he gives me the go ahead on that. Yeah, we'll go from there. So great. Thanks for tuning in, Craig, and others. There's one or two other people that tuned in at some point, which is cool. And I will see you guys next Monday night, 9 o'clock ish. Depends. I teach, so sorry. Some of my lessons go a little over time, but it should only be 5 minutes. So if I am late, I'll be there eventually. Cool, guys. That's 9:30. I've got lesson notes to write up. I've got, as you can see, a kid to put to bed and give a good night kiss to. So yeah. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye for now.